So, Sylvester Stallone worked with director James Gunn at least a little bit in the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. See, most of Guardians of the Galaxy 2 I've already forgotten, except for the giant Kurt Russell. But he was briefly in it, and it seemed like he had a future as a Ravager or some form of capacity. He might be back for Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Well, James Gunn must have enjoyed working with him so much because now we know that he has added Sylvester Stallone to the cast of The Suicide Squad, and I am so on board for this. And not just because I'm a huge Sylvester Stallone fan, I like this a lot. I'm already really excited for The Suicide Squad. I think this has a lot of interesting directions, and I didn't mind the one from 2016. It was chopped to bits, clearly, in post-production. But I'm really looking forward to this zany, off-the-wall approach. I have some theories as to who I think he's playing, or some hopes of who I think he's playing. But, Michael, you see that Sylvester Stallone has been added to The Suicide Squad. Do you think he's going to be a large-scale character, a small-scale? You excited? General thoughts about this?
Sure. Why? I mean, it's never a mistake to add talent, according to the wonderful and wise John Campea. So, I mean, adding talent, I love it. And yeah, it's one of those things. In the Guardians, when he appears there, you're kind of like, is that really Sylvester Stallone? And then he talks, you're like, okay, yeah, that's obviously him. But I love it. And I don't think it's going to be a big role. I mean, I think they've already tipped their hand with the marketing, what it's going to be at least about or trend towards.
I don't think so.
Well, that's just the feeling I got. That's the feeling I got. I don't think, unless he's the villain.
No. I don't. Without spoiling too much, or because I'm pretty sure of my theory. Let's just say I don't think the villain of the Suicide Squad will be a human villain. I'll say that.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I might, Michael. If you still want to know, I'll tell you off mic when we're done. I don't want to spoil it for people here because
Sure.
I think I'm right.
All right. Yeah. Well, I think. Well, that aside, I guess. Yeah. I think it's gonna be a small role, but I think it's cool. And who knows? Maybe we'll see him pop up in the future. But I honestly don't know. I haven't been following the Suicide Squad's like development. I did like the teaser they put out. It looks bonkers. I will say that. It looks like, that's what in the reshoots what they were realizing, like maybe we shouldn't make a very dark film. So let's maybe try to make it a little more humorous to disastrous effects. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they're finally they found the tone that they really wish they would have captured initially.
What? You didn't like Queen every 5 minutes?
Listen, I was actually really excited. I still remember where I was when I first saw the trailer for the Suicide Squad and it came out of Comic-Con. I remember where I was, and it was edgy, it was dark, and I'm like, if this is the tone they're going for, this is amazing. If like the film has this tone, then you saw the movie and you're like, what were they marketing? Like, we should sue for like misrepresentation, honestly.
So, what I'm really excited about with the Suicide Squad is James Gunn seems to be pulling out his bag of tricks of just going, okay, what are some really, really obscure characters we can have in this? Ratcatcher, Mongol, The Thinker, Bloodsport. Maybe I almost said who I think Nathan Fillion is playing. But let's just say I think there's a reason that his logo is like the arms crossed together that are separate from the rest of his body. But there's a King Shark. I'm so excited for King Shark. Now, some people are suggesting that they think Sylvester Stallone will be voicing King Shark because in that teaser, they said who everyone is playing, but they just showed King Shark, but they didn't say who's voicing him. I don't think so. I still firmly under the impression that Taika Waititi is voicing King Shark because he's in the movie in some capacity. They just haven't said what he's doing. And also, how great would it be if there's a gigantic killer shark voiced by Taika Waititi? And I'm going to bite your head off now. And it's going to be very pleasant for me. I don't know why. But as soon as I saw Sylvester Stallone was attached to this, and I was like, James Gunn's been going really, really obscure. And maybe I was just on a Young Justice kick at the time. When I saw he was cast, I immediately thought, you're playing Sportsmaster. Now that's a really obscure character, and I'm pretty sure Michael doesn't even know who the heck I'm talking about here.
I do not. You're correct.
So Sportsmaster is the father of a character named Artemis, who was one of Green Arrow's sidekicks at one point. He's basically if Dick's Sporting Goods was evil. He uses sporting equipment as he's an assassin that uses sporting equipment. So he wears a hockey mask like Jason, and he's basically like a master archer, fencer, uses any form of sporting equipment. I don't know why, but this stood out to me. He's also an older character as he's a father.
Mm-hmm.
I think having Rocky in your movie be some form of a former athlete, and maybe it's not a huge role. I don't know why, but I can't help the fact, but I just think he's playing Sportsmaster. I think I could be way off on this, and I probably am. But given how obscure the characters were getting, and Sportsmaster is really obscure. Like, I have a DC encyclopedia. He's not even in that encyclopedia, which shows how helpful that book is. But I don't know why. I just think it'd be funny if the former Rocky plays some old person that uses sporting equipment. But that could just be me.
That, with that description, I mean, how could you not like it? I mean, come on. I mean, it fits the whole tone that it looks like they're going for.
It's James Gunn. I trust him.